So yes, what's a question you have for me?
Yeah, for you, Monica, I really appreciate the fact that you keep on asking other people questions, but for your viewers, I think it's important for them to get to know you better. How do you do all this? How do you...
Sam made a good point. Hey, my name is Monica Kang. I am the founder and CEO of InnovatorsBox, and also the host and curator of all these stories that you are hearing. You see, I started doing this project out of genuine curiosity, wanting to inspire others, knowing how much what you consume is what you become. And I quickly realized, because I come from a public policy and research background, I'm accidentally being able to collect and study patterns of how we are doing in COVID-19. And so to answer that question of how I'm processing this, I thought I'll try this episode a little differently and to give you a glimpse of what are some patterns that I'm hearing that I hope intrigues you. So let's get started.
Wonderful. Just take a pause for a moment and just watch your breath go in and out. And I think that very process is pivotal to bringing you back in the moment.
That's interesting. Let me think about that.
What do we consider important?
You should have some sacred time carved out for yourself.
Financially preparing yourself.
How do we prepare?
Mentally preparing yourself.
Think about longevity.
Being really gentle with yourself.
That it was worthwhile to stay focused.
Be a good learner, because learning keeps you motivated all the time.
What can I do to improve my situation?
We can be less wasteful.
Or I've never created the time to actually focus on it.
Be still a little more.
Don't give up.
Just more empathy.
We are better people for knowing more about others.
So important to look out for each other.
How might we create these issues to make sure they work for everybody?
We're capable of so much more than we think we are.
That's the point of empathy.
I hope that we're not spinning as much. We're not trying to be in 100 places.
This example has proven very simply that having Wi-Fi, having digital access has to be a right in this world now.
Ask, how can you help somebody else today? Because I think you'll find that you'll help yourself as well.
Did you catch the first word? That's right. It's empathy. It's interesting. Being able to understand other people is always important, and COVID-19 has certainly made this a whole new degree of really thinking about how we understand other people, to see where they are coming from and where they are right now. And I ask yourself as well, take a moment to look at some of these stories and think about, how has this event made you think about other people better and see where they are? And think about how you articulate yourself better so that you can empathize where they are.
The time we had for our loved ones, I think we took it all for granted. I don't think I'll ever take that time for granted again. I mean,
staying humble, staying grounded, know what's important, and check the ego at the door.
You'll never feel that you're living in a world of despair. If you're happy to learn, if you're open to learning new things every day.
Instead of looking at the dark side of things, I always look for what's positive, because that's what keeps me moving forward. That's what keeps us moving forward.
That I'm hoping people will treat nature with more respect and more kindness.
I want you to pay attention to who you are, because who you are and exactly the kind of person, your uniqueness, is what matters.
Just to be mindful, and that skill is so simple, and that's why it's so difficult.
Just reach out to people and be real and be kind, and I hope that continues for 2025.
Use this time to do the thing that you've always wanted to do, because now you have the time, and you may have lost your job. There may not be a job to go back to. So what is that thing you've always wanted to do, and go for it now?
I think that studying history and what other people have lived through and how so much is about the attitude that they bring to things has really, really helped me in this time.
It is okay to not be okay right now. Professionally and personally, that's fine. What is not okay is to stay not okay. And I think that's the key to sanity.
And if they don't, then you're forcing them to do things that they shouldn't do, like having to ride a public bus to get to the job so that they can just get on their computer. And that's a shame.
And I think it's a big reminder to us right now that how many people's plans just changed in an instant.
Everything is figure-outable.
Just make sure that you do everything right and do everything that you love to do and just focus.
And what good you are doing in the world, okay? The world doesn't owe you a living. You owe the world you.
The next thing was attitude, mindset. Basically, the way you look at everything. For those who have this eye, they learn how to see with abundance. They're comfortable with uncertainty, and even though things are shaken up and it looks quite scary, they know how to find the courage and find joy and find opportunities. And that's exactly the reason why we do what we do at InnovatorsBox too. And it was so intriguing to see that was a consistent pattern that came up. So let me ask you the question back. What's helping you see with abundance in times of scarcity? Who encourages you to be in abundance? Take a moment to pause and think about that.
Calm down, be grateful, don't worry so much. There's only so much that any of us can do.
Change is not something to be fearful of. Like, change represents progress.
What can we learn from this situation? What things can we do differently?
The connections that you've made during this time, keep those connections up. The people that you've spoke to, as I said before, you've used this to make telephone calls. Use it again, keep those telephone calls going.
How do we just show up every day and help somebody else?
And on top of that, I do have a support network. I do have mentors that, have been supporting me through my business.
I would say, give back to the world as much as you can.
Learn how to manage your money. Learn how to manage technology. But the biggest thing, or the hardest thing, and you know this, is managing relationships and people.
Love that. It's a very proud mom moment.
Say not just the content of what you're saying, which is important, but the heart of your story. So I would say resting and learning how to effectively speak in public are key anytime.
Being really mindful and sympathetic that our students' lives have been turned totally upside down, right? I have students who work at Target or Costco or Domino's, and they're working these 12-hour shifts and they're coming home exhausted. And I have students whose computers are breaking or they don't have regular access to the internet and they're typing their essays on their phone.
A message to anyone out there who's struggling with addiction or mental health during this time: it's so important that you reach out for help.
The most important thing is just staying connected. Literally taking a couple of seconds each day just to send an IM to somebody on your team and just say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a couple of days. How are you doing? Instead of waiting or only doing it if it's work related. And I think that's what some of this has allowed me to feel okay doing.
And this was probably no surprise either. Your relationships matter. The people you see every day, as well as the people that you communicate with, or even just the email exchange you have for customer service. One of my favorite quotes by Jim Rohn is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And this might be a good time to think about who are indeed the 5 people you spend most time with. Do they inspire you? Do they challenge you to be a better version of yourself? And do they help you where you are? If you feel like you don't have those people right now, let's go ahead and see what you can do one step at a time to find those people. This is still a perfect time to build those relationships and new friendships. Oh, and by the way, congratulations, class of 2020. We got some special message for you because, May is here, and just because COVID-19 is here, we're not going to let that celebration stop you from it. So I asked a few friends what advice they have to share so that you are ready for this unknown adventure ahead. So, shall we?
So for those who are graduating, you have the right to celebrate the graduation, even though it may not be happening in the way we expected. You did it.
You will probably never get like a textbook question thrown at you later on if you do decide to change careers.
Someone once told me, do what you love and the money will come.
As somebody who dealt with the ups and downs of UCLA, I certainly understood that it was always changing, and
I feel like it would be the same advice I would give myself. For a long time, I didn't want to, I was afraid to shine. So just sharing your story, sharing your struggles, sharing your own journey, I think is helpful as long as you step up and advocate for yourself.
What looks good on resume may not look in reality.
You're not going to get I'm going to test you on your dual background, but it's always going to come back and help.
Like if in the morning you're not spending time with yourself, but you're just offering yourself to the world, then how are you going to, get to know yourself and learn to love yourself?
I think the most important part we can recognize is that no matter where we are today, one thing that we will always value is relationship building and the relationships that we have with one another.
Just live in the moment, be here, be now.
Figure out ways to how to promote yourself. I always say, if you've never been in sales, go learn it.
I think the way that we have goals and the way that we identify ourselves in life, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
It's the joy of finding small things.
It's been a long time since we graduated. I still feel that I'm in the school and I'm still learning. So this whole idea of graduation is so novel to me. Honestly, we never graduate. We are always in the school.
Is getting comfortable with uncertainty. And I think one thing that this crisis teaches us is whatever plans you may have, it might all have to change in a second.
Right? How to think about the immediate, but also how that has an effect on the 10 years, 20 years down the line. So when you're out there, you're a keyboard warrior and you're tweeting things out at people, you're burning people online. How is that going to be reflected 10 years from now?
And I didn't listen to that. And so please listen to that. And it took me some years to get back on track, right? But I did. And I think focus on doing what you're passionate about, what you love to do, because that's what's going to make a lot of the trade-offs that you, like anyone, will have to make in life.
And what's kind of helping me is that I'm finding my true north.
My aunt, who actually just got through COVID, she sent me this birthday letter, and I got it a couple days ago, and it's just it reminds me, again, just super new in my space, and the butterflies are hilariously cute. But it's bringing me such joy because my aunt survived this illness, and she wrote me a birthday letter, and it's just wow. That's just so much love that she went through such an illness for 3-4 weeks, and she still found the time to write me a birthday card and send it to me.
So the truth is, we're always going to be navigating. And I know COVID-19 has made us navigating uncertainty a lot harder, but be graceful. Focus on bringing your true self and think about what is an original value that you can provide. Get to know yourself in the process, but be you first and ask questions after questions.
Where do we draw the line, right? When do we stop prioritizing business and really consider human lives?
Take a moment, pause, think about what it is you can achieve and how you can be happy.
So it's a journey. And like this project that has now become a journey of collecting stories and documenting them to not only inspire friends around the world, but hopefully look back at these times and remember how we used to think about how we went through COVID-19? That's now how this project has become. And hey, while we're at it, take a moment to write down 5 things that bring you a lot of joy. Abundanceness, happiness, just feeling limitless, that you have control and access to right now. Write those 5 things and ask for you to think about how would you be able to spend more time with it in the next few days and the few weeks ahead. Because for me, this has certainly been one of the projects that has brought me a lot of joy, and I look forward to continue sharing this to inspire, learn, be happy, and document history with you. And so let me know your thoughts and maybe perhaps some other topics. What are other things that we should be curious right now and learn? For the time being, have a wonderful day and wishing you some positivity and creativity again. This is Monica Kang from InnovatorsBox, your narration and host, as well as just another curious person here, navigating COVID-19 with you. Thank you. And by the way, talking about being happy, I want to make sure we honor about what makes us joy. It's all in the small things. And here are a few things that my friends share.
All right, so this, I don't know.
I was walking and there were 2 cows on the road that had somehow escaped. And so I sent a picture to the landlords and
he's like, why are you dragging me onto the street?
This is my 2 special books.
Please.
I was able to draw things on here.
That's beautiful.
Like my daughter.
Thank you.
Over the years, I've been like playing with him, and
Logan, can you say hi? Oh, and there's King is barking now because Logan's getting the attention.
And the reason why that this is important to me, and this is
like sometimes I do coding, and on my mom's laptop I do
it's a year-round tree. It is,
and this is like one of the communities that I run here in Bangkok, and I was like, why not?
My little ones bring me so much joy.
So this is one of the limited edition boxes from a Comic-Con.
Sadie is the heartbeat that sits with me and snuggles with me at night and watches TV with me. And
This is our house.
Wow.
Just smelling the smell of coffee. I'm like, this makes me really happy. And
so we use this plant, and there's another plant which is like an Indian curry leaf plant.
This is a personal piece for myself.
Wow.
And so I love Broadway. I love musicals. I have now learned to listen to Broadway musicals in Japanese. Thank you to my Alexa, but
because why not have gay pride year round is how we see it.
And what you do is it's actually a stress, it's supposed to de-stress you by making you feel like you're cleaning up in a sandbox.
Never mess with a Korean woman. That's the one thing to know.
With others, but this is this one little person who gives me a lot of happiness. Can you? Oh,
it means a lot to me just because of how much Scotty means to me. And, I was talking about something very serious, and they were like, it's really hard to take you seriously when you have a stuffed animal wrapped around your neck. I thought it was a fair point, but it was funny.
The second favorite, I'm probably going to say, is this board. I have a big whiteboard behind me in my office, home office.
My brother wanted a spoon with a wolf on it.
How awesome this feels.
This is my grateful journal. And this is the abundance challenge that you're in.
It's giving me hope.
To advertise believers in
distribute their flowers like tulips and daffodils like from their home. So I went to a woman's home in my neighborhood yesterday and picked up my order.
And anytime I had a tough conversation I needed to have, whether it was 2 a.m, he would always pick up. And
I've been saying this a lot, but again, live your life to the fullest. Enjoy life.
Happy music. I love to listen to songs.
This little wind chimes we created.
Watching these 2 girls right here do TikTok and trying to coordinate.
When I popped off, then you gave me just a little bit.
And she's trying to get me to do TikTok. We'll see how that turns out. I think that's going to be pretty funny.
Stay in the area of gratefulness and use a phrase that is replace I have to with I get to.
The quality of your relationships. And for me personally, I think that the most important relationship is with yourself.
One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. I just think there's something about poetry that's been really helpful for our time here because it's like fragmented time what we're in and it doesn't make kind of sense linearly. So I think there's a lot of metaphors that can happen in this space we're in.
How do you do all this? How do you, for me, working with you has been amazing because I've learned so much from you in terms of the way you're organized, the way that you think, and the way you structure things. And how do you do it? What keeps you motivated?
For us to be more creative.
What's most important. Money's great, but it's not always important. It's secondary. There's health, family, and to be, I guess, more genuine as much as possible to people, because there's a lot of fake people out there. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a lot. So
that's it for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and reaching till this end. And I hope this has given you courage, positivity, and just, some curiosity and wondering, what can I do differently today? So stay tuned for more stories and what I'm being curious about. Have a great one. Love with Monica.